Good morning, Eagles. Welcome. Today, this is one of the exciting days for us. We're actually going to talk about a very important subject today in our CTC Live. We're going to talk about Blackboard and how you use it and how it can impact you. We have our Blackboard guru. Her name is Dr. Angela Reese, and she is going to explain to you what you need to know about Blackboard and how to be successful and making sure that you're hitting all of those points that maybe normally you wouldn't even consider. And I know a lot of you are now, this is the first week of class, you're still trying to figure it out. So this is the perfect time for you to actually know what to do, where to go, and how to deal with your class and make sure you're going to hit all those important things in Blackboard. Take it away, Dr. Reese.
All right. Good morning, Eagles. Thank you so much for joining us today. And maybe it's afternoon where you are, evening or 2 a.m., who knows? But wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us. And if you're watching the recorded version, welcome as well. So, as Mariceli said, the Blackboard classroom is your virtual classroom. And before I even share my screen to show you where to go, what to do, because I know some of you are probably eager and maybe can't even find it, class has already started, or I have maybe potentially a few of you that you haven't signed up for classes yet, but you're interested in learning more about this platform ahead of time, which is great as well. So what I'd like to tell you is that everything that I'm going to show you will be able to follow along with me unless you haven't signed up for a class yet. So if you are watching live or the recorded version and you have yet to sign up for a class, you will not be able to access Blackboard because the very first time you can access it is 3 days prior to when your course begins. And as you move forward, just for future reference, in any additional classes that you take with us after that first set, you will always be able to access your Blackboard account. It's just that you won't be able to access those courses until 3 days prior. So if there's any confusion on that, let me know. I'll try to say it a different way. And anybody that has questions as we are moving forward, please go ahead and type those into the chat. Mariceli is going to be monitoring that, and I will as well, just be kind of checking to see if we have anything pop up. So as we go forward, try to stop me and ask questions along the way while I am right there so that if there's anything that you are confused about, we can help get that answered immediately. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you now that we kind of have those ground rules set. And we are going to hop right in to our Blackboard. So first thing I want to show you here is how to get there. So Blackboard, as we already told you, is our virtual classroom. It is a separate website, but the very first time you access it, you might want to go through the Central Texas College website, which is CTC as in district.edu. Once you are here, you will be able to go several different ways. One of the easiest ways that I have found is to click on Student Tools and then down to Blackboard. Once you do that for the very first time, I would suggest that you save this to your browser. And while I'm talking about browser, let's go ahead and get this out there too. The best ones to use will be Chrome or Firefox. Do not use Internet Explorer. When you use Explorer, all of the components of Blackboard don't work. So please do not use that. If you want to use it on your own personal, everything else, that's fine. But for Blackboard, we definitely want to make sure that we are utilizing Chrome or Firefox. So once you are here, save this page to your preferred browser. We are at ctc.blackboard.com. Pretty easy to remember. There's also an app that you're able to add to your mobile devices and to your iPad. So please be sure to check that out as well if that is something that you like to utilize while you were studying and reading. I know a lot of students do like that. I don't personally suggest taking a test on your iPad or phone. Definitely suggest doing that on the computer just because it's easier. Not that it can't be done, but it's much easier to see everything when you are working on a computer. So once you are here, your username and password, I'm going to talk to you about how to get in, but then if you forget, you can also click on See Blackboard Login Instructions. And then of course the screen will pop up to show you what those are. So as it states here, you are going to be using your CTC ID, which is a lowercase c. followed by a 7-digit number, and then your initial password, which you can change once you log in the first time, is going to be your date of birth, month, day, year. So if you were born today, that would be 082124. And again, once you get logged in that very first time, you are going to be able to change it if you want to, but you do not have to. Now, if you think, well, that's great and all, but I don't know what my CTC ID number is, then you can go to use the Blackboard username and look up here, enter your first, last name, date of birth, and then also click on I'm not a robot, and it's going to give you your CTC ID number. If you're still having problems after that, the best thing to do is to reach out to the Blackboard technical support folks. They are absolutely fantastic. You can also give them a call if you are having issues getting logged in, or if you're just having issues with Blackboard in general, not necessarily specific information about the class, but if you're having technical issues, then you're going to want to call them. All right, so I'm going to log in as my fictitious student, which his username and password will be completely different from yours because he is not an actual student, Mr. Calvin Hobbs here. I'm going to go into his Blackboard courses. And as you can see, Calvin has been a student with us for a very long time. So he has things going back multiple years. So we've got the fall of 2023. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me try to highlight that. It will not let me highlight it, so I apologize. But it does say fall of 23. Then we can see his spring of 24 classes, his summer classes, and then of course his current classes, one of which he has started and one he hasn't. Before I dive into one of the actual courses, I want to draw your attention to the left-hand side where there is a menu. Now, this navigation, this menu that we have on the left-hand side is going to be institution Blackboard wide for you in all of your classes. And then we're going to go into a specific class. So when I'm going on this left-hand side, it's going to be a little bit different than once I'm into a class. So first I want to show you the institution page. And when you go to the institution page, this is basically a resource page for you. So while you can definitely utilize our CTC homepage, this is just another great place for you to be able to find things potentially a little quicker. So if you needed to find information about our student handbook, or if you wanted to learn more about getting Office 365 for your computer, if you didn't realize this, once you have your CTC student ID email, you're able to download Office 365 on up to 5 devices, and it is free. So if you don't have that yet, you can soon have it. Below the institution page is going to be, this one says Calvin Hobbs, but of course you will put it, or your name will be shown there, and you can update anything that you choose to update under this area. It is not required, but definitely something you can do. Then we have the activity stream. The activity stream is going to be for all of the courses in which you are enrolled. First, you will see important items, followed by upcoming items, and then things that are specific to today as well. So I personally do not like utilizing it here. I feel like it's kind of messy and too much. Other people really like it because it gives you kind of that bird's eye view of what's going on in your classes. And then of course you can dismiss these once you have reviewed them. And then you can also see upcoming due dates. Again, if you like this, that's great. I just personally like looking at things a different way. Below activity stream, we have courses, which we will come back to in a minute. Below that, we have organizations in which you can join each term, like potentially some of the tutoring centers here. Then we have our calendar, and this is going to be, again, a view for all of Calvin's classes. So this is on today, the 21st. So there's nothing in any of the courses that he's enrolled in that is due today. I'm going to change it to the month, though, so that we can see what's going on in all of his classes. So you can see that upcoming, so this is the 21st, on the 25th, Calvin does have 2 assignments that are due there. Followed by the calendar, we do have messages. This is again going to show you all of the classes in which you are enrolled, and then any that have a purple circle with a number inside of it is going to let you know that you have a message in that specific course. If you wanted to, you could click on the link and it would take you directly to that course in those messages. Below messages, we have grades. Again, this is going to be an overview for all of the classes. And then below that, we have our assist to where we have other great resources that you can access, whether that is the library, a wonderful place, lots of great tools that you can check out. We've got more information on tutoring, career services, disability support services. There are so many services here for you. And if you have any questions along the way, you can access them here. Below that, we have our tools that are going to, again, be across your classes. Personally, I prefer to go into the courses. All right, so one thing I want to draw to your attention for fall of 24, Calvin is in 2 classes. And you can see that Calvin has office management and then also principles of marketing. Look right underneath principles of marketing. It shows that Calvin hasn't even started this one yet. So this course started 2 days ago, just like office management, but he has started office management, but not principles of marketing. Now I'm going to show you a few different things in both of the classes. And I'm going to start with the one that he has already accessed. So let's go into office management. And in office management, I want to draw your attention to the upper left-hand corner. This is going to be similar in all of your classes. You will have the shortened version of what the class is, followed by one that is a little bit longer. So let's talk about what this means. OLL, that tells us that this is an online class and that it also has very specific due dates. If it were to say OSL, then that tells us that it is a self-paced course with milestones. Self-paced with milestones means that it has suggested due dates along the way, and then it has milestones or kind of like a checkpoint. And at that point in time, you have to submit your assignments. There is a grace period after that milestone in which you have 7 days to turn in anything you want that's prior to that deadline for a penalty. Then after that, the assignments close out and you are no longer able to complete those. So that's OSL. We also have LEC, lecture. So that means that you have some online components, but that you also have to go into the classroom at specific days and times. And SVL, synchronous virtual lecture, where you would meet kind of like we are right now at a specific time on your computer and then also have assignments online. Followed by the delivery mode, you have the name of the course, then you have the start date, then you have the end date. So we know that this one is 16 weeks because it starts in August and ends in December, followed by the section number here. Some of your instructors might require you to utilize this number when you are emailing them. Others might not, but just so that you know, that is the section number.
Dr.
Below
Reese,
the, yes,
we have a question. I'm sorry.
okay, that's okay.
So the question is, the assignments to the calendar and the due dates, is that something that the student adds themselves?
So that's a great question. That is something that your instructor will set up. And I'm going to show you several different places where you can find this. That was kind of that bird's eye view of all of your classes. And then you can also check it out inside of each individual course and you can print them as well. I'm somebody who likes to have things to write down, check off, scratch off, highlight. So for me, I would want to print all of those out so that I knew where I was at any given day. So whatever works best for you, but that is something again that your instructors do for you depending on the type of class that it is. So not every single instructor puts every single deadline on that calendar, but I'm going to show you another place to go. We're not quite there yet, but I'm going to show you that as we move forward. Was that the only question, Marcelli?
So far, yes.
Okay, thank you. Below then the information that we just went over, we have several different pages to go to. One thing I want to for you to keep in mind as we move forward is these are standard in all of our classes. So we, the instructors, can't change this. So even if we don't utilize one of these areas, it's still going to show up. So don't let that confuse you. But I want to go through each of them just so you know what they are. Content is where we are now, and we'll come back to this one. This is actually the meat and the potatoes of the class, everything that you need to do. To the right of content, we have the calendar, which again is going to be specific to this class. So I have set it for the month. And as you can see here, those due dates are showing up for us. If we wanted to scroll forward to September, we can see here that that is the next set of due dates are showing up for us there. All right, to the right of the calendar will be our announcements. This 5 tells us that there are 5 unread announcements in this class for Calvin. So basically Calvin hasn't read any of the announcements that are showing there for him. So definitely something that he needs to go back and check out. To the right of the announcements, we have a quick way to get to our discussion boards. This is definitely something that I utilize, and there's other places to get to it as well, but this is one place where you can quickly get to your discussion board if you want to do that. It's also under our content. To the right of the discussions, we will have our grade book. Now, this shows us what all is due in the class and how well you did or did not do. You can see here that Calvin has only done 2 assignments. He completed his biosig verification, and then he also completed chapter 1. All of the other assignments he has not even opened except for, let's see, I thought he might have opened another one. Nope, Calvin hasn't started any other assignment in this class. You can see here that those are all unopened. If he had opened it, then it would say that it were opened, but it is not. And then these 2 here show that they are graded. It shows that he earned a 1 out of 1 on this first assignment, and on the chapter quiz, he earned a 3 out of 10. If this were a written assignment, to the right under feedback, you would see a purple icon that looks kind of like a piece of paper with something written on it. We could click on that, and then we would be able to see what the feedback is from the instructor. To the right of gradebook, we have messages. Calvin doesn't have any messages in this course, but he could go and create a new message in the upper right-hand corner. I can't select it because then it would show you everybody that's enrolled in this class with Calvin who are actual students. So once I click on new message, then it will allow me to enter anybody that I want that is in my class, my peers, as well as my instructor. So when you are in this and you think, well, which class am I in? I can't remember who the instructor is. Don't worry. Next to it, it will tell you that that is your instructor so that you know that's who that you are reaching out to. To the right of messages, we have analytics. So if you wanted to see how you were doing in comparison to your peers, you would click on Run Report, and then it is going to give you a breakdown of how you have done compared to how everyone else has done. And then finally, to the right of analytics, we have our groups, which in this course, I don't utilize groups, but if I did, this is where the information would be and how to work with your peers, your team members for a group assignment. So you will be able to tell that based on the instructions that your specific instructor provides to you. All right, now let's go back over to content. And once we are in content, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit and I want to show you a few things right here off the bat. At the very top, you will see your instructor information. You will also see that this is marked as complete, meaning that Calvin has already said, yes, I've reviewed that. As you go forward in your classes, you'll be able to see if you have completed an entire what we call module. So some instructors might call them lesson folders. Some might say weekly assignments. Others might say lesson 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the business department, we primarily use lesson. And then in the real estate program, which is in our department as well, we say units. So just know that it might be named a little bit different in each of your classes. But at the very top, as I was mentioning, your instructor information is here. You're able to see when my office hours, my preferred type of communication, the phone number. So for example, I say I want you to utilize messages for communicating with me in class. You might see another instructor says, please email me at, or please text me. Depending on where the instructor is located and their preferred method. So make sure to check that out. Below your instructor information, we do have a getting started. Now, getting started in this class is going to be where you will find all the information to help you get on track for success immediately. It might say start here, or first week activities, or read this before you do anything else. This is something that your instructors can change. So I want to draw your attention before I even go into the folder that it shows here that Calvin has completed 3 of the 8 requirements for this section. So now that it is open, you'll be able to see which of those he has completed. So start here, there's already a check mark. Syllabus, a check mark. Course schedule, haven't even opened it yet. Definitely haven't checked it off that I've done it. And then you can see that he has also clicked on this biosig and biosite introduction, but he didn't mark it as complete because he still wants to come back to it because he wants to make sure to really understand that. I strongly encourage you in all of your classes, whatever this folder is called, getting started, start here, do this first, whatever that folder is called, go through every single thing in that folder for all of your classes. This is where you will learn about how your specific instructor is conducting class. So start here might be different in my class as compared to all of your other instructors, whether you have 2, 3, 4, or 5, it might be a little bit different. I would definitely, the very first time you're enrolled in a class, read every single thing here, all 11 of these. If you realize as you're moving forward that some instructors have 20, well, they've added some things they want you to know. So make sure to read all of those. You can go to the next item in this folder by clicking next in the upper right-hand corner, or we can also back out of it. That's my preferred way to do it, by clicking this white X that's inside of the purple box. Next, we have our syllabus. This is something I highly encourage you to really read over. Don't just skim over it. Make sure that you understand what that instructor is expecting of you. So we have the course description, our learning outcomes, which is fairly standard in each of your classes, followed by our course materials, meaning what books that we need, and then into the course content, which tells us when things are due. So since this is an OLL course, we know that we have to hit every one of these due dates. If we don't hit these due dates, we're going to earn a 0 for that assignment. As we scroll down further, you will see information about the exams. So for example, you can tell that exam 1 has chapters 1 through 7. You are allowed to use any references you want, and you have 60 minutes to take that test. Then we have our grade components, or the breakdown of how we come up with your grade. It's just not something random. We don't just assign you a grade. It's based on the points that you earn. So if you don't earn those points, then you're not going to have the grade you want. And the reason I say earn is because you have to put in the effort. You will see here that there are a variety of assignments in this course, all which come up to 1,000 points. Just doing exams or just doing the written work is not enough to pass the course with a C or a higher grade. Of course, we all want to strive for an A, and this tells you how to do that. So if you are a fantastic test taker and all you think you need to do are take the test because that's what you've done in all the other classes, that might work for some of your other classes, but in this specific course, it doesn't. 375 points is the maximum you can earn on on all tests, which is not even enough to get a high F. So you definitely want to make sure that you are doing your other assignments. Then at the bottom, some of your instructors may have some notes or other information that they want to share with you. I'm going to close out of this one. And I'm not going to go through each and every one of these. You can see now how it works. I do want to show you though how to check it off as complete. So let's go into course schedule. So for my class, this course schedule is basically part of that syllabus, just taken out, it makes it easier for you to print it. So if you wanted to print this page so that you could see all of the assignments and when those are due, you could definitely do that. So I'm going to X out of it just so we can see what it looks like. So you can see here that we have opened it, but I haven't marked it as complete yet. So now I'm going to mark that as complete. One item that I want to draw to your attention is that in all of your classes, you have to do a first week activity, or you will be potentially dropped from your class. So it doesn't matter what class it is, you have to have completed a graded activity. Each instructor has a different first assignment that they require you to do. So think about this for just a second. Just because you are in 5 classes, let's just say you're in this class with me, you complete that course procedures quiz. Great, I'm done. I verified that I'm active in class. I'm not going to be dropped. Well, that's true for my class, but then you still have 4 other classes that you have to do this first week activity in. So even if you're in all 5 classes with me, I have to drop you from those 4 other classes if you don't complete this assignment in all of my classes. All right, X out of here. And again, I strongly encourage you to complete all of those assignments. Now, all of those items within that folder. Now, BioSig and BioSite. BioSig is going to be your biometric signature. So just like when you pick up your phone and you use your thumbprint, or you use your Face ID, or you enter in a password, however it is that you access your devices, those are tracking that you are who you say you are. We are going to be doing the same thing in your classes, most of your classes at the college. And what we do is when you very first sign up, several of you might have already gone through this process, but you can read how to create it, how that works. You can watch a video. I'm not going to read this whole page to you. You can read this. But watch the video and then you can watch somebody completing their biometric signature ID for the first time. I created mine 12 years ago. Mine is the same as it has always been for 12 years. One time it didn't work and that's it. The reason that it didn't work, and I got it to work, I just had to mess with my mouse a little bit, is because the mouse on this computer that I'm using right now, for some reason it wasn't working that day, kind of in the center. And I always draw the same way, whether it's with the mouse pad or with an actual handheld mouse. And it didn't work because my mouse in the center wasn't working that day. So I had to kind of go over to the side and do it in a different spot. And then I was able to access it. But once you create it, it's going to be the same for every single class that you're in. And again, don't be nervous about this. You can watch the video on how to create it right here. All right, so I'm going to close this folder up. Now you can see I've done 4 of the 8 because I added in a few more things that I did. Then the next item is that BioSig lesson verification. I've already completed it for Calvin in this course. I'll show you in a different course how to actually do that, but you can see here it's check marked. So because I've already done this, the rest of the folders underneath have already been released to me. So once I verify who I say I am, then I can go in and look at all of the other folders and actually get to work. So let's look at lesson 1. All of the lessons in my class are set up the same way. So at the top, you will have your introduction and learning objectives, followed by the learning activities. This first one, if this is in your course, which it's most likely in all of them, is basically just going to tell you an overview of this section along with what you might be doing in each of the chapters. There's nothing that you have to do here. It's just giving you information. Following that, we have our learning activities, which are the things that you are going to complete. So you're going to, in this course, read the chapters. Then you're going to review the PowerPoints. And then you actually have 3, 4, 5, and 6, which are assignments to complete. Below that item is where you actually can get started with your assignments. So first, we've got our course procedures test, which was item 3, followed by the introduction, which was item 4. And then we had the discussion and our chapter quizzes. So I'm going to show you, I'm not going to access all of these, and I can't access the discussion boards because it will show you the other people in this class. But what happens is if I click on student introduction right here, it's going to take me to that introduction. information. I'm going to read what I need to do, and then I'm going to complete my response. A lot of people I found prefer to open a Word document and type up their response in the Word document. That way you can make sure that everything's formatted okay. You're comfortable with that. You know how to check your spelling. And if you have any grammar issues, you can review all that there. And then you can copy and paste it into the box that would be there. It'll say to respond to the prompt. And then you can just paste that in there and submit. Once you submit, then you'll be able to see all of the other students in the class, all of their responses. And then if your instructor requires you to, you might need to reply to some other people. Some do, some don't. Below that, we have our discussion board 1, and then we also have our chapter quizzes. So I'm going to go into those chapter quizzes, and we already knew that Calvin did chapter 1, so I'm going to show you chapter 2. We're going to go into it, and then on the right, it tells us when it is due, how long we have, and how many attempts we have. And then at the very bottom, we're going to start that attempt. Then we're going to start our timer. Yes, we're ready. I'm not going to read this. I am just clicking answers here. And then I'm going to submit it so you can see what this looks like. Okay, now the bottom right-hand corner, I'm clicking submit. Yes, I'm sure I want to submit. And then it's going to tell me that I was successful in my submission. It's giving me my confirmation email, and it's also telling me my confirmation number. So you heard that ding. That is my email telling me that my submission was successful. If you want, you can wait till you get that. You can also click download if you want to download it. If you're somebody who just gets nervous and wants to make sure it's there, you can do that. I'm gonna go ahead and hit close. And then it's going to tell me my grade. So you can see here that I earned 6 out of 10 for that assignment. And then if I wanted to, I could also view the submission to review which ones I got wrong, if your instructor allows that. Some instructors don't allow that, but if they do, you can view your submission. And I'm going to close out of there, and then I'm going to scroll back down and go back into lesson 1. So now I've done 2 things because I've taken chapter 1 and chapter 2 quizzes. And we can see here that I've completed 1 and 2. I can also go back to the grade book to see that as well. And then I'm just going to work through each of my lessons. And of course, I'm going to check my calendar. I'm going to check that syllabus. I'm going to check that schedule of assignments to see when things are due and cross them off as I go. Now, I do want to show you the grade book to show you the chapter 2 quiz now shows I earned 6 out of 10 points. So now I have a total of 9 points that I've earned out of 20 that I've tried to complete. I'm going to back out of this course, and I'm going to go into marketing now because I want you to see what it looks like the first time you log in. So you can see here that I am just now getting started. I have not looked at my instructor info. It says not started. I haven't, now I've done it because I've clicked on it. And then getting started, I haven't started that yet either. So I can open this up, basically do the same thing that I've already done in the other course, go through each of these areas, check them off, showing that I completed them. And just so you know, your instructor can see the same thing you see. So if you haven't started it, the instructor is going to know that you haven't started it yet. So just keep that in mind too, that we see what you see as it pertains to what all you have completed and not completed. Now I'm going to try to skip ahead and go to lesson 1. I'm clicking on it. Notice that nothing is happening. I don't know if you can tell that I'm clicking on it, but nothing is happening. That's because notice here, I have not started my lesson verification. So let me go in and do my lesson verification with BioSig. I'm going to go down to the bottom right-hand corner and hit launch. And if you're wondering why I keep looking to the left, it's because I have another computer that I have opened. Okay, so if you want to use the same password I do, please feel free. 3 lowercase L's and a capital L. I validated. Now it's telling me, great job. You did a good job on your BioSig. And now all of a sudden, watch what happens. I can access my lessons. So I validated that I am who I say I am. And now I can see my lessons. One other thing that I want to show you, I'm going to back out of this course. And if you missed that, if I did that too quickly, in the upper left-hand corner, I'm going to click that X to get back to all of my courses. And I'm going to scroll down. And I want to go into this Principles of Marketing class because I believe Calvin completed something in this course. You can see here, same thing. It shows how well he did or didn't do. And I'm going to go into that grade book because I believe he has something that is graded with feedback in this course. Here we go. Okay. So on discussion board 1, it tells me when he first participated. It shows that it's graded. It shows he only earned 3 out of 60. It's because he didn't try very hard. And I'm going to click on this little icon that I was mentioning to you. This is the feedback. Normally I give a lot of feedback, but all Calvin said was, I like marketing. And so all I said back to him was, I would have liked to see much further depth, review the instructions. So normally I'm going to submit almost a whole page full of things to give back to students. But in this case, he gave me a little bit to work with, so I gave him a little feedback. But this is how you would see that information about the specific grade. So with that, we are about 35 minutes into it, and I want to leave some time for questions if y'all have any. But this is basically an overview of what you need to do to be successful in your Blackboard course. One other thing that I want to point out is that we can't help you, we being the faculty members, unless you reach out to us letting us know that you have a question, whether that's about the actual content of the course, whether that is, I don't see the discussion, I can't find the syllabus. Whatever your question may be, please reach out to us because we want to help you. We truly care about your future and your success, and we want to hear from you and we want to help you. So Marcelli, do we have any questions? I'm going to try to go to the chat myself. So see you're offline right now.
There was a little bit
Okay.
of a comment, and
Okay.
it's just it said somebody said I all of my instructors will give us a printout of the mapping calendar to us. Um, and when I asked, because I thought she was talking about the syllabus, but it said no, it was referring to the mapping calendar with assignments and due dates. If you're in person, that usually does happen, but if you're online, not so much, right?
Right, right. Because we don't really have a way of getting this to our students, the calendar here. So we don't hand this out just because we don't actually meet with our students in the classes. So you're able to print out this calendar, or you can go to the syllabus or schedule of assignments, this course schedule, and print this out.
Okay. So that's the course schedule that this person was probably referring to as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, I'm guessing.
Well, I would think so too.
Yeah. But this is actually something that, can you talk a little bit about making sure, and I know this is not necessarily Blackboard related, but making sure that you keep up with these things and how important it is?
Oh, it's extremely important, extremely important. If you don't complete your assignments, you're not going to earn any points. So, on top of missing out on all of the learning experience that is involved with going through and completing your learning activities and your assignments, it's hard for us to work with you if we don't have anything to work with. So it's extremely important to stay on top of your due dates. And I will tell you that, I've tried a lot of different things over the years. And one thing that still just kind of baffles me is when somebody says, well, I only have the weekends to work on my classes. And let's just say that, I have assignments due on Wednesdays. Well, then you work ahead. And if your instructor has something due on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, you know about it in advance. So make sure to work on it when you're able to before the due date. If something happens, we're human. We want to hear from you. We want to know what's going on. And if we can, we're going to work with you. So if you have an emergency, provide us the documentation. Make sure that we know what's going on. If you have something planned, tell us in advance, and then we will tell you how we want you to handle that in our specific class. So if you're going into the field, if you're moving, that's one. If you are going on vacation, if you have a work trip, most of those things you know ahead of time. So reach out to all of your instructors and say, hey, I'm going to be gone on this specific date, and I see that exam one in your course is only open for 2 days. and that's not what you see in front of you, but I'm just giving you an example. Let's just say that it's open for 2 days, and those 2 days you will not have access to the internet. You need to make sure that that instructor is aware and ask, can I take it in advance? May I take it when I return? What is best for you? How can we move forward with this? So if you know you're going to miss something ahead of time, reach out to us. If something happens, reach out to us and let us know as well.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
trying to see if we have anything else. I think I don't really see anything else,
Okay.
but I really want to say thank you because we really needed this. There has been uh, Blackboard went through a big change, and maybe that is kind of how we can explain it. Even the faculty right now is trying to figure out some of the new features and
Yes.
and things. So let's be gracious with our faculty and help give them the opportunity to figure it out as well. As much as you're figuring it out, they're figuring it out too, guys.
Yes, absolutely. So if you like, that's why it's really important to ask questions, because sometimes things get hidden from us and we don't realize it, or we hide them from y'all and don't realize it. So please make sure just to reach out and say, hey, I don't see this. How can I do this? We are definitely here to support you. And keep in mind that, as Marcelli said, this is new. I have had the opportunity to be working in this for months now because I was part of the development team for our courses. And then I got to teach this summer using it. But many people, their very first time seeing it is just like you. This is their first time for classes that start. What month is it? August, August 19th. So just as Marcelli said, be gracious with that, ask questions because we are definitely here to support you.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you doing this, Dr. Reese. Thank you
Of
to everybody
course.
that had some comments and some questions, and feedback is always appreciated, and we're grateful for it.
Yes.
We will have a whole series of virtual events this week and next week, so please stay tuned to it, and we'll see you around. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.